This is Frederick D. DeLillo, and you're watching Almost Human. SHMACKEMAGOB.
SHMACKEMAGOB, what's up, everybody? Hey, look who I have here. Somebody that doesn't like me saying this, but he's legendary. Mr. Rick Rozz. Hi, Rick.
How you doing, Ralph? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, man. I was very surprised that you liked my channel, and I was like, dude, I want to interview this dude because he's legendary. He played on this right here, my favorite Death album, and he's also part of Massacre. And so how you been, man?
Not too bad, man.
So what's going on with you?
As far as music goes, me and a good friend of mine, Lucky Erickson, we have a project called The Ride, and we sent a couple of tunes to Kyle Thomas from Exhorter and Trouble, just to see if he'd be interested in writing some lyrics and singing on it, and he did. So we're doing that, or I'm doing that musically. I played on a few other bands' albums, did a couple of like whammy solos here and there, that and the other. As far as music, that's about it, man.
All right. Well, we had a chat yesterday on the phone, and I was very excited that maybe in the future, you and I will collaborate on something.
Yeah, that'd be freaking great. I think your vocal style is freaking badass, and it would totally go cool. Hell yeah, man.
Thanks, man. I'm down to do that, and I got the recording equipment here at home, so all you got to do is send me some music, and I'll lay my angelic vocals on it, dude. I sound like an angel when I'm singing, an angel on fire, but no less an angel. So, dude, there's a little bullshit going on. I know I'm throwing a left ball on you, curveball on you, but I heard a recent interview on Metal Messiah Radio with Jet, who has interviewed me too. She's awesome, and with oh my God, why am I having? Oh, Cam Lee.
Oh.
Did you hear this interview?
Yeah, I listened to probably about 5 minutes of it, and I just had to stop. There's no reason to continue listening. Right out of the gate, it was baloney, so it's cool, man.
Yeah, it started off kind of like, what the hell's going on here, man? Would you mind talking about it, or do you want to skip this subject?
No, I'd love to talk about it.
Okay.
Basically, that interview, since you're bringing that up, out of the gate, the guy said that we went out to eat, and blah, 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 blah. He picked the place, not me. And I was nothing but apologetic to the guy and very sincere because of when I quit Massacre and took Bill and Terry and we joined Death. I never mentioned that to Cam. He had no idea, and I was very apologetic and sincere to him about it. And right out of the gate, the interview said that I said to him that I forgive him. I forgive you is what he said. I said to him, not I'm sorry or this and that, but I forgive him. Yeah, so I didn't really get that. It didn't really make any sense. I would never say that to somebody. I forgive you, but I'm freaking apologizing to you. Then I got you a job, and we put the band back together. I got Michael Borders in the band. And it was a wrong decision. I shouldn't have done it. Wow. But yeah, there's been a lot of baloney since then, man. It's kind of funny though. I find it amusing. I don't want to bash the guy. I'm just going to state facts. You know what I mean? We put a band back together again. He refused to pay rent. 6 months in, we're in debt to Timmy Vasquez over at CGM Studios. And Timmy was cool. You know what I mean? He didn't throw us out, but he wanted us to throw him some. Anyway, so when he sent me this proposal via messenger that he's not paying any rent, everything needs to be contracted, this, that, and I mean, he got the name of the band and trademarked it or whatever, and it just seemed like he thought it was like Motley Crue or like the biggest band in the world. And anyway, so long story short, it just was a bunch of, I couldn't agree to that. I mean, he's like, we don't have to be friends. We don't have to talk. We just get on stage and play the shows that I booked. We had like a good handful of shows booked, and me and Maz just decided to leave the band and not deal with it. And it was just like dictatorship, but very childish and silly. And I just laughed, man. I had nothing to lose. So I was like, all right, well, gave it a shot. But he had the whole thing is he had a premeditated band already. So they had already, and which was Jeremy and Taylor from A Human Condition. So immediately they were doing stuff, and they wrote a whole record for the guy, and they lasted a year, not even a year. Then now he has a third lineup that I just put a new record out, and then I think it's like 3 guitar players or something. But yeah, so basically it took him 3 lineups to get a record out, and yeah, like I said, I'm not going to bash. It's just facts. And whatever he does, it's his choice, it's his name. Like he said, his name, this and that and the other. But there's a lot of stories, man. A lot of stories. Like right before we went to do California Death Fest, I get an email from him because the promoters back. That guy just had me. And he's like, no wifey, no cam. So basically he was saying if his girlfriend or wife, whatever, couldn't go to the California Death Fest, he wasn't going. So I arranged it with the promoter. The guy bought him a plane ticket out there, but he was supposed to pay him back. Never paid him back. Of course, the band had to eat that. But we didn't, it wasn't a big deal. I didn't cause a ruckus or an argument. I just let it go. Standard activity, I guess. So it's just stuff like that, man. So like I said, I don't want to, it's just facts. There's no bashing. You know what I mean? He's doing what he's doing. I'm doing what I'm doing. I tried to be cool. But it was like everything was like a revisionist. He changed everything, made it like its own. You know what I mean? So, but it's cool to make himself look cool and that we suck. Yeah. So it's just there was just a lot of things, but he wasn't going to stay with me anyway. I offered to freaking pay for half the name, and then even said maybe the band we should all do it as fours, and he wouldn't accept my money. And then in one of the proposals, he said that as well. He's like, yeah, you had a chance to get in touch with the lawyer. And I was like, dude, I asked you to your face at work. Can I throw you $750 to pay for half of the freaking name? He wanted it himself, man, because he had a lot of bitterness and resentment in him. And he made it look like I was the bitter guy, that he can see it in my face. I can see it in your eyes. You're so bitter. I'm like, wow, what is he even talking about? But it's just that, man. It's a simple thing, and he's continuing, and it's a long time ago. It's already been a few years, so it's old news. It's just, I thought, it'd be cool to talk about, and it's really not that important, but I just thought I had to get it out there as far as like, it just was silly crap, man. You know what I mean? And oh, wait, I just remember something else. And then the Human Condition guys get with me, and Jeremy messaged me, and I'm like, I didn't know who he was. And I was like, oh, shit, the guy plays in Venom Inc. I'm like, holy crap, he's in Massacre. So he goes, dude, I got to freaking talk to you. So we talked on the phone, and it was quite amusing, man. He gave him all his contacts, and then, accused him of taking over the band or something like that. But long story short, one of Barney's excuses on not making it to rehearsal was that Mike Mazzanetto, the drummer from Massacre, slashed his tires.
Oh man!
And actually, the message was sent to me. Jeremy sent me the message and highlighted it. I'm like, wow, he actually said that about Mike, man. Yeah, I don't think Rick would do it, but Mike would do it. His tires weren't slashed. That's like I said, it's juvenile stuff, man. But whatever.
Well, the thing is that you never got to tell your side of it, right?
Yeah, and I could go on and on. I mean, I really was going to go on and on and on. I mean, I actually read over all this stuff, and I was going to go, oh, yeah, this, that, and the other. So I'm just letting stuff pop in my head. That was juvenile. You know what I mean? The wife thing, no wifey, no cam, and then not paying the promoter back. And me and Maz couldn't hear for shit. Well, Maz couldn't hear for shit at the Chicago show. And we had a couple of boo-boos on a couple of tunes, and he was just completely freaking embarrassed. And okay, dude. I've seen bigger bands freaking fuck up and start the song over again. You know what I mean? I've done it before in other bands. So, yeah, so he just needed an out, man. He just didn't want us in the band. I knew that, especially when we left and he was already had songs in like less than a month. You know what I mean? He had those cats out there in Spring Hill, wrote 14 songs for that guy, man, for a record. Like that In Human Condition record was supposed to be the Massacre release. I don't think they put all 14 tunes on it, but it's an album's worth of material. And that was supposed to be the Massacre release. So they said, shit, we're not going to waste this stuff. So the drummer decided to sing. Why not? They're kicking ass. You know, I mean, Terry Butler from Death and Massacre's in there with them now. Also, Obituary. Terry Butler's playing bass with them. It's a 3-piece, and they're having a blast. So, anyways, you know, what can you do? Then he moves off some other dudes from Europe that he's had 8 or 10 projects with. No disrespect to those musicians and people, and you know, got those guys to write a record too. So it's like, you know, he's got it made. It's a free ride for him. He's just riding everybody's freaking carpets all the way around, because all he has to do is freaking put a mic in his freaking face at his house and yap some freaking crap out. Everybody else is doing the work, you know what I mean? But he owns today. So you go.
All right, I'm cutting into the interview. This is something we're going to talk about the next day, and I'll go back to the interview we did yesterday. Rick, you wanted to clarify a couple things and talk about a couple things that you didn't discuss yesterday on the interview. So the floor is yours.
I'd like to give a shout out to Dawn of N, Tyrants of Darkness, and Symphony. If I'm mispronouncing your band name, I sincerely apologize. Also like to mention that the Ride little recording project that we have with Lucky Erickson and Mr. Kyle Thomas on vocals, we have signed a digital deal with Blood Blast Records, or Blood Blast Distribution. And one other thing, I was talking about the Chicago show, the last Massacre show in Chicago. There was an interview going on, and the old Massacre was brought up, so there's no reason for me to keep on talking. So I walked away and asked the original bass player to come in, and they sat down and they were talking. So long story short, I ended up watching that interview after we did that, and that's the same show that Mr. Mazzanetto and I quit due to we had some boo-boos on stage, and he just happened to walk downstairs while Barney was talking shit, and saw some and heard some stuff, and didn't say anything, but told me later, and then just added to the fuel to the fire. But long story short, on the interview thing, the Second Coming release was brought up, and the Promise release was brought up, and Barney said he was cornered by both projects, and I just want to clarify that it's a bunch of crap. We were all in the same room writing all that music with both projects, especially the Promise project, Promise album. Me and Barney were in his apartment, in his bedroom, wrote all that shit. I had my Marshall Stacks in there. We wrote all that together. Regardless if he hates that record or not, I give a freaking crack. But the point is, him saying that he was put into a corner, that's the last guy that would be cornered in anything to just abide by, you know what I mean? He's not that guy. So I just wanted to clarify that it's a bunch of crap, and that's about it. Both projects, the Second Coming project with Joe Cangelosi and Butch Gonzalez, and the Promise project with Mr. P.C. Son and Cyrus Peters on drums. Anyway, enough of that hootenanny.
Well, all right, then let's dwell a little bit into your history then. You were involved in Death Before Death. You were part of Mantis, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And so what exactly happened? I mean, you had a lot to do with Scream Bloody Gore, the first Death album, but yet you're not on the album. What happened there?
Well, I was let go prior, of course, before Chuck decided to move to San Francisco. But we had we were working on a lot of Mutilation, Evil Dead. Obviously, Evil Dead was a very early song. So I have some riffs on the record. That's all. You know what I mean? I wasn't credited for them. That's cool. It's fine, man. But
then you came back.
Pardon me?
Then you were back for Leprosy.
Yeah, which was a coincidence. Massacre was going to do. We were going to open up for Overkill and Megadeth at the Tampa Bay. I think it was the Tampa Bay Army. And we showed up, and then we were told that we weren't going to play, and the band called the Necros was going to open. So, literally got in my head. I was like so stoked to forget, even though I got to meet Mustaine and Gar and all those guys, and I already knew the Overkill guys, so it was fun. But I literally was done with Massacre. I didn't know. I was like, man, this is just not doing anything. I mean, it was a really big letdown. But the coincidental factor is this guy that came up to me. I have no idea who he was. I couldn't recognize him again if I saw him. Just came up to me. He goes, "Hey man, you know Chuck's back in town." I was like, "Really?" And that was it. That's all it was said. And that I'm not sure if that guy said and Chris couldn't move down because he didn't want to. Anyway, I think Chuck told me that. But anyway, the next day I showed up at Chuck's house and he was very surprised to see me. And I was like, "Hey, dude, I don't mean to show up on notice, but I have some stuff I'd like to talk to you about. And if you're interested in hearing it, give me a buzz tomorrow and we'll get together." So he called me and I went over and just basically told him that I left Massacre and Bill and Terry. They didn't even know I was calling. Did I call Chuck or that I went to see him? I didn't call him. I went just showed up to his house, and he was game. We talked, and I called Bill and Terry. I was like, "Hey, we're in death." So I never told Barney. So that was the biggest dude. I apologized to that guy. So I was blue in the face probably like every time I saw the guy. I'm like, "Dude, I feel so bad. You don't have fucking any idea that I didn't even have the balls to say, 'Hey, dude, I'm gonna, but whatever."
Well, at least you apologize, man. I mean, you realize, many people make mistakes and they don't apologize. You know what I'm saying?
No, I was really trying to be cool and put something cool together again. You know what I mean? But should have never left the other lineup. You know what I mean? That shouldn't have happened, but it did. So that was a really, really strong lineup, and we had a lot of fun. Yeah, this wouldn't have been. This wasn't fun at all, man. Me and Maz weren't having fun. I mean, we were having fun. We were playing the music and stuff like that, but it was different, man. They're just different. People are different, you know what I mean? You're either cool or you're not cool.
Right.
But yeah, blah, 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 blah.
So you did the whole tour, the Leprosy tour.
Well, we did the Scream Bloody Gore tour first. When I put the band together, that was Scream Bloody Gore was coming out. He hasn't toured yet. And yeah, so we went and did that. Did the Scream Bloody tour in a van. Custom van, and we gutted the whole thing out, took the tables out, and with no trailer, all our gear was in there and merch, and a sound man. So it was freaking. But dude, it was cool.
And
was crying. The crying later. Oh, we don't have a bus. I'm not gonna get into that, but that had nothing to do with me. I was like, man, fucking gives a shit about a bus. We're getting around. We have hotels. We're getting fed, and we're in fucking Europe. Well, the Scream Bloody Gore tour was in the States, but we did go to Europe, but we came home early.
Yeah, I did see the Leprosy tour. Death Angel and Death opened the show, so I did get to see. Was
I in the band?
Yeah, I mean, I could have sworn you were.
Was that 89 or 88?
88. It was 88. It
was 88. I was in the band. I just don't remember that show.
It was It was an amazing show. I do have it on video, so I'm gonna have to overlook it because I could have sworn you were there, and everybody was on stage that night, including me. The whole crowd was up on stage, and we were just It was the first time I ever stage dove. Was during that, and you guys were playing Choke on it. I'll never forget, and it was just an amazing show.
Remember that, man. I can't remember that for life.
Yep, yeah, it did happen. And then, so what happened? Because then it went to Spiritual Healing, and you were no longer in the band. What happened there?
I was let go again for the second time. So I got a call. I was in Jersey hanging out with a friend, and Chuck called, and "Do you have your guitar?" And I said, "Yeah," but I didn't.
Oh.
And then we hung up, and he knew because he was talking to the person that I was hanging out with. So I got freaking. But it's cool, man. It was meant to be. Then the attorney guy, Eric, called and goes, "Your services are no longer needed." I was like, "Okay, man." No, I was cool about it. He mentioned I mean, God bless the guy. He's passed now, and I really feel bad. His kids don't have a dad anymore. But it happened, man. That's all. It was cool. I didn't have any problem with it. I knew it was time.
So then you went on to reform Massacre, right?
Yeah, we did that with Joe Cangelosi, ex-Whiplash and creator, and a really good friend of mine, Butch Gonzalez, who was in the Genitorches for a little while, and then he was in a band called Mother Funker. And this is a really badass funk bass player, but he dug metal too. You know what I mean? From Motorhead to freaking, of course I can't, to Stanley Clarke. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So he was a badass. So that stuff was a little different. It was kind of like a suicidal metal. You know, even though Suicidal is kind of a crossover kind of band, but not really. Anyways, it was kind of like that. It had the kind of vibe. There's some slap bass in there, a lot of parts. I mean, a lot of parts. I was like, oh, this is crazy. But it was never released other than, I think we had somebody decided to release it. It's called the Second Coming was the thing with that. And then coincidentally, while that was going on, Terry Butler calls me out of the blue in Europe on the Spiritual Healing tour without Chuck. And he goes, we're on tour without Chuck, and we're not going to be in the band anymore when we get back. What do you think about Reform Massacre? So I was like, oh, shit. Now I got to go tell my friend Joe and Butch. They took it pretty well. They didn't get pissed off. They didn't beat me up or anything. So I just like, hey, man, coincidence happened, and I got a role, and they were cool with it. And then that's when we did the From Beyond record, because From Beyond was really, really late. Those songs were written in 84, 85, or 85, 86. And the record didn't come out to, 91, I think. So that's what happened. I was booted from Death. Bill and Terry stayed for the record. Then they quit. Birdo got booted. Came back with Reform Massacre. Rehashed all the old tunes and then put out From Beyond.
Yeah, and there was no, I mean, like you said, you were cool with it when Chuck told you, or when you were told you were no longer in Death. Did you keep in touch with Chuck through the years after that?
No, I didn't, because he was busy. You know what I mean? I had no reason to bug the guy. I was basically doing Massacre, so I kind of had the Massacre thing going with the other guys. But I did run into him after his first surgery, and then I ran into him again. And then I ran into his sister, and she told me that he had a relapse. Yeah, that's all. I saw him at a local bar called The Station, which this rock band I was in called Flow. Yeah, so that's as far as in touch, no, but did run into him after his first surgery, and he showed me that there was no scar. You couldn't see a scar. We had a great talk, man, for a few hours.
So then Massacre. So what happened after From Beyond? I mean, I know I opened a couple shows with you guys in DeLand and in Miami, and I mean, you guys were great, man. You know, the Obituary show that we all played at, and how did it fracture after that?
Just misunderstandings, man. When Massacre was going for 4 years when we did the Back From Beyond record, which is the areas we're talking about, because Terry was in Obituary at the time, so they took us out on tour, and the tour was great. It's just, and I'm not going to bash anything about that or talk about anything like that. It's just certain things happened, and certain things were said that could have been avoided and could have really been overlooked on my part but I tried to be cordial, and I was, and then I just kind of was a little mind blown by some shit that was happening out in the blue, and I was like, well, okay, and I guess I flapped my choppers a little bit. But what can you do, man? So yeah, it fell apart. But I think we did a pretty good record. You know, it doesn't suck. I think it's a little long, and I agree with the other guys. I should have went along with that before and said, yeah, man, that's not good. They were right. I was wrong. I was thinking more songs for people to listen to, but you know, kind of 14 tunes sometimes, kind of like. But yeah, so it fell apart, man. It just did. And then there was multiple projects after that, just in studio projects, not really like touring or anything. It was the Emming thing was going on before we Reformed Massacre, because Obituary invited Emming to come and play with them out. Yeah, I was in Miami as well. And Paulo from Trivium was cool enough to drive out there and play bass for us, because Timmy, the bass player and studio owner, he's a guitar player, but he was playing bass in the project. He was out in Europe, I believe, work, so he couldn't do it. And Paulo came out, and that's when me and Butler started talking again. That's before the reformation. Like I said, it lasted 4 years, man, and we did a record and did a shitload of tours and booked a bunch of stuff in South America, and everything always went smoothly. We were paid in advance before we left, and we got ripped off. The people were really cool, the passion. I mean, it was the South American people and the European people, and no disrespect to the U.S., it's just a different culture, and there's a different passion for music, man. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I have no regrets to any of that. It was freaking kick-ass, and we did a kick-ass record. Tim did a great job, and Century Media was really cool, and I apologize to them that it didn't continue, but yeah, what can you do?
Yeah, well, one thing for sure, you know, I played South America as well, and the passion those people have over there, It's ridiculous.
It is unbelievable.
It is ridiculous, and you know, even the chicks are fucking serious headbangers over there, man. And,
yeah, for real.
They live it. You know, I love my country, but when it comes to the passion for metal, South America owns us. Hardcore.
No doubt. And Europe as well. But,
yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, no, I love my country too. No disrespect to the people of the United States, because they did their own thing, but it's different, man. It's just crazy.
Right on. So, you know, I was speaking with you yesterday, and you told me you have done a few projects, you know, like via internet with a band from Puerto Rico and other stuff.
Nemesis. I played on I did a bunch of whammy stuff on their whole album. They're really great guys. They got a little deal with Horror Pain Gore Death Productions. Feed the Corpses to the Pigs. I did a few things for those guys, and I believe they have a release on Horror Pain Gore as well. I could be wrong on that. Sorry, guys, if I'm wrong. And that I didn't write down. I should have wrote down all of it. But there's a few other bands that I've done some stuff with, and working with a band called Gangs of Old Ladies out of Australia. I'm actually in the band. I just in Florida, and so obviously it's never going to be touring or live shows, but it's a lot of fun, dude. And the guys are really, really cool, really, really creative, and their video stuff is crazy. So yeah, it's cool. I got my own little character. They named me Razor Rozz. I wear this long-haired clown mask.
Nice.
It's fun, man. I just do it in the house. You know what I mean?
Right.
Other than the recordings, I got to go to my friend John's house. John from ex-Pain Principle. Now he's in Intoxicated, who's been around for a long time. You ever heard of those guys? Intoxicated from Orlando?
No.
Anyways,
well, yeah. Well, like I said,
what's your band doing? What do you have going on? You're freaking in the same thing. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions if that's cool. What have you been doing?
Well, my band is not defunct, but you know, I have a couple members of the band that's in Malevolent Creation now. My drummer is touring with Yngwie Malmsteen.
That's huge.
So you know, it's and, you know, because of the pandemic and shit, it kind of like, it's not over. I'm not gonna say it's over. I'm just waiting for everybody to get back together, you know.
Eventually come back and you guys, right.
So
how many records do you guys have out? Because you actually have albums out.
We have two.
Right.
We have the first one's Poser Holocaust, and the second one is Metal Massacre. That just came out on cassette through Unchained Records. So go to unchainedrecords.com. See, I gotta plug my shit even when I'm talking to Rick Rozz. I am like the worst.
I'm asking you what you're doing. I could have been off for freaking hours. I just made it short and sweet, stated a couple of facts, and I wanted to ask you about your band, because you're a badass singer and your band's fucking really good, dude. And I mean that sincerely. I'm not just saying that to freaking blow smoke. I watched the videos, and no, for real, man, it's freaking good stuff. Really good, man. Really good thrash, and it has some really cool groove, and your vocals are pretty fucking relentless, man. They don't let up. The scream.
I appreciate that, Rick. That's what
you said, the screamy, fiery angel.
Yeah, I sound like an angel, but I'm fire.
Right.
And so, you know, that's good. You know, everything you're saying to me, I really appreciate it, and I want to make you doubly proud when we actually do a song or whatever it is you want me to do. You know, I'll write the lyrics.
I'll put something together and send it to you. If you dig it, you know, write the lyrics, title it. You have the means to record it.
Yeah.
Just tune. You title the song, and yeah.
Yeah, I just can do vocals. You know.
I have a bunch of songs, and there's songs that we're going to use for a certain project, and there's other songs that I'm thinking, when I heard your vocals, I'm like, it'd be cool if we can get freaking Dr. Fuck to come and blast out some vocals, you know, because it's cool, man. It's just it's straight out freaking. If you dig thrash, man, check out the freaking band.
Thanks, man. Thanks, I appreciate that.
Because it's really, really good. Because the band is good and the vocals are cool, man. It's freaking, they're badass.
Thanks,
and you're good with the crowd too. Actually, you're freaking really good with the crowd. The interaction's freaking really good. And I can tell that people dig you guys too. No, like I said, I'm not blowing smoke, dude. It's facts. And I watched and did some research. And I was just like, shit, man, that's cool about your band. You're in a band.
So yeah, I appreciate.
Bro, what got you into singing?
You know what? Here's the funny thing. I never wanted. I never want. It was. I was in my late 40s when the band started because I never thought of being in a band. I was very discouraged at a young age because I used to hang out with a band called Iron Cross, and their singer didn't arrive. No, that's a different Iron Cross from Orlando. I'm going back to '83, a different band, and their singer didn't show up. So I mean, he was late. So they wanted to rehearse, and they did a cover of "Rock and Roll Rebel" from Ozzy. Okay. And they said, "Hey Ralph, why don't you sing this while we wait for the singer?" So I did. I sang it, and then the guy next door came in and said, "Who was singing?" You know, that guy, and the guy, I don't even know this dude. And he goes, "Dude, don't ever do that again. You suck." So I was so discouraged that I never ever.
So that's a discouraged story.
Yeah, so that's why I never wanted to be in a band. But then in the late, when it was like 97 or 98, my guitar player was a huge fan of yours, which, by the way, Rick is coming back on this channel where we're going to talk more about your history with my guitar player, who's a huge fan of Rick Rozz that wants to do this, but he's working at a casino, so we got to find a time when we all three get together. And he told me he wanted to start a thrash band, and I was like, hey, good luck to that. And then I heard Onslaught's Killing Peace, which was new at the time. I bought it, played it in my car, driving home, and I'm like, hey, I think I can do this. And that's how it all started. And
it's really hard to sing. It's really that Ozzy's a hard dude. I can't sing.
Yeah.
I can only imagine trying to rock and roll rebel and then some dude saying that you just don't ever do that again. You suck. And
it sucked, man. I was like,
I'm sorry, I can't sing like Ozzy.
Yeah, I was like, oh well, you know, I mean, I'll never sing again.
How was that?
That was like 83, man. I'm talking about like 20 something years before I formed the band. So through 83 all the way up to when I formed Thrash or Die, I was just a headbanger. And I still consider myself a headbanger. I don't consider myself a musician. Yes, I wrote lyrics and sang with the band, but I still consider myself headbanger first. And, you know, and I do this for fun. You know, and that goes out to every band out there. If you want to make money, if your head is to make money, to make music, you're going to suck. Do it for the passion. And hey, if the money comes in, that's icing on the cake. And that's Thrash or Die was always about that. It was always about passion. You know, I mean, our goal was to form a split with Hellwitch. You know Hellwitch. We wanted to do a split with Hellwitch and play the Culture Room. The split never happened, but we played the Culture Room. That was our goal. And then all of a sudden, you know, it started snowballing here in South Florida. We got a big following that we did end up doing that full-length album. And we ended up in a Trauma movie that has Lemmy in it. And we're part
of shit, man.
Our music is part of the Godfathers of Metal. That's a Project Bob Nalbamian. Like, you hear our music while people from Testament and Lars Ulrich and all these people talking about thrash, and you hear our music in the background.
That's freaking killer.
I love it. And, you know, the band toured Europe, and we played South America. We did a lot of shit, man. I mean,
I don't know this dude. That's what I'm saying. I was like, man, I'm going to ask Ralph about his band. Let him talk about his band, what they've done. Have you ever done anything about your band? Talked about it like this, or?
Yeah, well, I would like on Jet. Yeah, I've done several interviews, mostly like, you know, those zines, you know, and some radio shows. I was on Metal Messiah Radio talking to Jet about Thrash or Die, and but you know, I mean, our whole thing was just, you know, just release a split and play a local club, and it went so much further. And then when we played,
you weren't expecting that to happen.
No, and then we had promoters asking us to go to Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, and then we played a festival in front of 8,000 people in Colombia. And I said, after we played the show, I said to the band, I want to end right here. I want this to be the end of it. I want to.
It's not going to get any better than this.
Yeah, this is it. I would love this to be the goal, but they talked me into playing some shitty local shows to 10 people after that. But I wish that would have been the last show. But fuck it, man. There is 3 or 4 songs we wrote for the next album that I think is our best material. So you know, I'm down to keep doing it. But the thing is, man, and you know, it's like I own my own label. I release my own stuff, so I have no pressure. But there is pressure from a lot of people that I'm very grateful that love my band, saying, "Where the fuck's the new album? Where the fuck's the new album?" I said, "Band is fractured. We get along. We're all great friends. It's just fractured. They're off doing their own things, and we'll wait till everybody's got downtime so we can concentrate on the new album." You know, but. My main goal now is to like write kick-ass lyrics and make you proud, Rick, for whatever the fuck we're gonna do. I want to say thank you because you did. On my Only News That Matters, I always ask people to do intros, the SHMACKEMAGOB, and you did a killer intro. What was it? Was it Love Gun? You played Love Gun?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when I saw that, I said, that's fucking Rick Rozz, because you just said SHMACKEMAGOB, and that was it. And I was like, the fuck, that's Rick Rozz doing it, you know? And I was very fucking shocked, man. That
I got a kick out of watching that. I was like, man, he's always busting on Stanley, and I know you like Paul, you dig Paul Stanley, but you bust on him and it's great. And I couldn't do the Stanley voice, so I just did the SHMACKEMAGOB and did Love Gun on one of his little signature guitars. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I loved it. I said, "Oh man, Rick Rozz," and you know, and we've actually talked once too. We played a festival called the Deland Fest, and we hung out for about 3 minutes. So of course you're not going to remember me, you know. But
I'm really sorry.
No, it's okay. We spent we played 2 shows together, and I was honored, man. You know, not only Massacre, but you know, Obituary being on stage with them, and you know, and then just to have this happen, you know, and a couple other people that I'm fans of are digging my channel, which is just awesome. So I said, you know, Rick, man, we got to do like a little interview, and we're going to do another one. And I know you're a huge Kiss fan, so I have a huge.
I have the same views on a lot of the Kiss stuff. That's why I was like, and a lot of your reviews and stuff, and I don't think, you know, Sammy Hagar sucks, freaking damn right. Sorry, I put that in there for good measure. You can cut that out.
No, do I have to?
No. I was just saying, I don't.
You know, I mean, can I have some?
It's very entertaining, man. It's cool. A lot of stuff is freaking hysterical, and it's fact, and it's real.
Yeah. Well,
what's cool is you're not a freaking ass kisser, freaking Hollywood schmo. You just freaking say how it is, and
I just bring the facts, man, and people don't like it.
I disagree with one song on the Dynasty Animalized thing, and I can't remember which one it was. I was like, really? Because I don't know Animalized like you do, so we won't get involved in that. But
no, we will get into that when we do our Kiss conversation.
I fucking killer. I love it.
Yeah, because you know, I've set aside Wednesdays for Kiss because I have a huge Kiss following. So I'd like to have like Rick Rozz and me Kiss talk with Rick Rozz, you know, and also we'll dwell more into your history with William Barter, my guitar player. I mean, my ex-guitar player. Thank you so much, Rick. And before you go, I have 2 suggestions for the band name we're going to have. When we do the songs, you're going to need a name for the band for it. So either we can call ourselves the Kiss Twats or Sammy Hagar Sucks.
You can name it. You can call it whatever you want.
All right, let's call it Sammy Hagar Sucks. I like that one. Yeah.
So,
Rick, you rule, my brother.
No. Thank you, man. It was a pleasure for you taking the time to do this. I know you're busy, and I'm just some freaking little.
Yeah, right. You're very influential, and you're a god, even though you don't want to admit it. But you are involved in history, man. You are. This is historic.
That was a moment, but I don't think of it like that, man. I mean,
I understand.
People dig it, and yeah.
I understand, but to me, it is a very historic. It is the very first death metal album I ever heard. Thanks to my friend Holy George, I heard it for the first time, and at first I was like, I don't know about this, man. You know, because it hit me off left field, but then.
I totally understand. When I first heard Motorhead, I was kind of like thrown for a loop. I was like, what the fuck?
That happened to me, Slayer, too, man. Show No Mercy, I was like, I don't know. And now I love that album.
That got me to go fast. After I remember listening to Kill 'Em All for the longest time. Sorry. And then Show No Mercy came out, and I was like, really? That made me want to put the gas pedal down and write speed metal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But no, It's
I
cool.
love Rain and Blood. I love a lot of Slayer, but for me, it's all about the Metal Blade years of Slayer. Haunting the Chapel and Hell Awaits. And,
No,
but
I
I will say, I mean, Rain and Blood is their greatest album, but I still, you know, I can acknowledge it's their best album, but I'm still more drawn to the Metal Blade stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I love the Metal Blade stuff, but that record from start to finish was 28 minutes of, yeah.
Relentless.
So
Killer,
it was
Beautiful Thrash. Historic. And when people say, oh, that album's overrated, I'm like, no, you're overrated. How can you say Rain and Blood is overrated? You just want to be that person.
I agree that Massacre is overrated because people say that all the time, and I'm like, yeah, I agree.
No, I don't think so.
Massacre was lucky, dude. That's all it was. We had a couple of members that went back and forth from death and this and that. Yeah.
I thought From Beyond was an awesome album, man.
It just came out too late, dude. You know what I mean? We were late to the party or to the game. If that would have came out in like when Scream Bloody Gore came out in like '87, so songs. But like I said, we didn't shop a deal. That freaking came out of the blue. David Vincent from Morbid Angel called me and goes, "Hey, they were just putting out their first record with Earache," and he goes, "Hey, you know, Digby Pearson's a huge Massacre fan, and he'd love to put out a Massacre record." I was like, "Really?" And that's how that happened. Period. So it's not like we were shopping demos or anything. He just said, "Hey, Dave, give Rick a call and see if they want to." Of course, Bill and Terry about shit themselves. But
it's an awesome album, man. I love that album.
It's cool. Like I said, the songs were written in 6-7 years prior.
But it did make a mark. I mean, you know, you did get your name out there.
I don't think so. I mean, on some people it did. I don't think so. I don't look at it like that. Even the Leprosy record, I don't look at it like that either. You know what I mean?
Well, Denial is not just a river in Egypt, Rick.
Denial of Life. That's a death song, bro.
Yeah, there you go. So thank you so much, dude. And we will talk again. We'll get more in depth with William Barter, who's a super fan of yours, and then we're gonna do Kiss Talk with Rick Rozz. Hey, somebody just broke into my car. I gotta go. Thank you. Hey, Rick, SHMACKEMAGOB, man.
Man.